Welcome to the International Women's Day Conference. Please give this conference a round of applause. As Lathera said, I am Dr. Neva, and this is the second annual conference. The first one we did, thank you, Winnie, I appreciate that thumbs up. The second one was down the hall in a smaller room. And this year I said, okay, I'm going to try it again in Hofstra, the same location, and see what happens. So why the International Women's Day Conference? I believe in strength. I believe as a woman, we need to embrace ourselves and be successful. I believe in success, all right? Now, this is not my grand speech. And I know Shivali snuffed out just now. What I wanted to say before she did, she had to switch because she's on her way to an audition. She's an artist, she's an actor, a singer. If you look at the bio, that's who she is. Very talented individual, and I'm sure you could agree with me based on her speech. So the good thing about this conference, I had some individuals, I don't see them right now, but I have actually had individuals that bought tickets from other parts of the world. I don't know if it was just support, but one, another state, Seattle, flew in. You're not from Seattle. Okay, but she flew in from Seattle. So please, thank you so much. Thank you. Definitely someone comes out to see the conference, but to, represent and to show love. I so much appreciate it. Mwah. Thank you so much. International Women's Conference, we're not just celebrating that we were born a woman. We had no choice for that, right? I believe that, I did this conference to empower, motivate, but one of the biggest things that I try to make differently, is to impart knowledge. It's not about, ooh, I got a certificate, I got a degree, I celebrate that I'm a woman. Yeah, I love that. I believe in it. But what about knowledge? Knowledge is important to me. And that's what we're here today to do. So beyond the motivational speakers, the Shabali, the Donna, we have the individuals that's going to talk about business. Margot, where are you? Hello, how are you? In Uniondale Chamber of Commerce. We have the STEM panel. You know what STEM, right? Okay. And we have a panel to talk about leveraging and collaboration. The theme of the conference. I remember in high school, my English teacher, one day we were huddling in a little group talking, and she said, you need to get rid of that crab in a barrel mentality. I go, what? What does that mean? She said, picture a crab in a bucket. One tries to come up, pull it down. This doesn't work. And some of us don't realize that it does not work. Imagine the power that you have when you can collaborate with each other. Hey, yeah, we're in the same field, we're in the same business, but maybe if we do this together, what can happen? There's more power in the unity than when you're divided. I also want to give thanks to the vendors. Thank you so much. Guys, look around the room, see who they are. Make sure you show them support. I thank them. And the sponsors, the CBC, Caribbean Business Connection, Layak, back there. Say hello, Layak. Street Hype newspaper. Vicky, where are you? Vicky, yes. Who knows Vicky? You bet you will know Vicky today. And again, please, thank you so much for coming out and celebrating with us. Let's enjoy.
Thank you so much for coming out today, and I'm honored that we are part of a very important panel during the day today. It's all about leveraging and collaboration. Dr. Neva and I are good friends, and I came to her conference last year and was just very impressed by everything that she's doing, and I'm honored to be here today and moderating this beautiful panel. My name is Adrienne Garland, and I have a company called She Leads Media. And She Leads Media is a marketing consulting company. I also produce events for women entrepreneurs and leaders. I've done that every year since 2013, and about 250 and 300 people attend that conference every year. I also put on some smaller events, and I take women on international business trips. My whole entire mission for She Leads is to help women to get their voices, stories, thoughts out into the world, because we need to hear that. It is very unbalanced right now, and so, through all of the work that I do, I help women to get everything out there. I also do a Pitch the Media event where I help women to refine their pitch so that they can pitch to the media, so that the media covers them, which is an excellent way to amplify your message, whether it's personal or through business. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. We have a very impressive panel here today, and I'm so happy to have a conversation with everybody. One of the things that She Leads does is we offer super practical advice, so we're not just talking about inspiration here, we're talking about things that you can practically do in order to take your business or yourself or your leadership to the next level. So on the end, we have Carla Hamilton, who's the co-op director of the Frank G. Zarb Business School here at Hofstra. We have Dr. Cynthia Ashley, and she is the CEO of Total Faith Network. And to my right here is Victoria Schnepps-Eunice, who is the president and CEO of...
my son now has the title of CEO. He took it away. He said, Mom,
you gave it to him.
Can I be the CEO?
So of Schnepps Communication. So I'm just going to pass the mic on to Victoria, and what we're going to do is introduce ourselves, and a little twist on the introduction is I'm going to have everybody tell the audience one little thing about themselves that might not be apparent.
Uh-oh. Well, hi everybody. First, I must thank Dr. Neva. You are amazing. She deserves a huge round of applause. Oh my God. You have brought together such extraordinary women, and I feel privileged to be in this room today. And it all started, I will share, not everybody knows, but I did have 4 children, and my firstborn daughter turned blue in the nursery. And because of that, she was brain damaged and was 3 months old developmentally her whole life. But Lara took me on a path that no other human being could ever have imagined. Because of Lara's needs, I found a place on Staten Island called Willowbrook. And if some of you are old enough to remember, that was a facility for children with disabilities and adults. They had just built an infant rehabilitation center, and with a lot of trepidation, I brought Lara there in 1970. And I lived in Bayside amongst wonderful women, and they said, Vicki, there but for the grace of God go I. How can we help you? And we started the Women's Organization for Retarded Children. And that group sent busloads of volunteers every weekend to Willowbrook. But within a year, the budget was slashed, and children were dying. And my lovely ladies and I became marchers and pictors. And some people don't know that about me and my journey, and Geraldo Rivera, who used me as the model mother, and it's because of Geraldo's coverage and the power of the press that ultimately resulted in a powerful class action lawsuit that changed forever the lives of children with disabilities, because of all the group homes you see today, all the day programs for children with disabilities and autism came out of that Willowbrook class action lawsuit. So I talked a lot, I know, but nobody really knows that about me. They think it's just another pretty face.
That too. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Greetings. First, I want to again acknowledge Neva, Dr. Alexander. Thank you for being you. Okay? You're a fabulous human being, an awesome woman, and I have nothing but respect for you. And with that said, thank you all for the opportunity to be here to share on this platform with these awesome women. I'm privileged and humbled to be here with you. I'm Cynthia Ashley, Dr. Cynthia Ashley. I am the president of Total Faith Network, television and media enterprises, and I'm also the chairwoman for Restoring Our Community Media and Arts Network Foundation. And what we do, we actually empower people to win. Why? Because every one of us, every one of you has a winner inside of you. And I do it through communications, and I use media as that platform of communications, and television in particular. But all media influences people. And that's why I engage media, because media is an influencer. And that's why the world is in such an uproar, because of mainstream media, the big six corporations, as we know them, who have actually dulled down, dumbed down, desensitized everyone's lives that watch programming on television. And that's my goal. My goal is to counteract that. And that is to empower people through positive images, especially for females, and particularly females of color. And because of that, I'm here today by Neva inviting me, and I'm here to say it's about building self-esteem, self-identity, self-awareness, and self-respect.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I want to echo what everybody else has said this afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Neva, for putting together an amazing event. I participated in this event last year. Dr. Neva and I had the opportunity to meet at the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce event, and ever since then we've become very close, very good friends, collaborated together on many occasions, and so thank you for having me as part of the panel. How many of us women in this room right now are here in 2 and 3 other places at the same time? Yes. The reason I say that is Dr. Neva had mentioned that I'm on a little bit of a time constraint. Today happens not only to be St. Patrick's Day, but it's also the same day as my daughter's junior prom. So right now she's getting her hair done, but what went from having just a few friends coming over before the prom is now turned out to be 35 friends and family coming over to my house before prom to take pictures. So needless to say, I'm trying to figure out a way I can clone myself. But it seems to be kind of what us women do. We tend to never say no, and we tend to split ourselves in so many different directions. Right now, I just started a new position over here at Hofstra University, so welcome to my home. I am also a Hofstra alumni, so everything somehow always comes full circle. I'm very excited about the opportunity that I'm doing right now. I have been hired as the director of an MBA co-op program. And for those of you that don't know what a co-op program is, I'm very familiar with an internship. But what a co-op is actually it's giving students the opportunity to do anywhere from a 4 to 8 month internship within a company in their field. So this way these students actually will graduate with some real life work experience. So something that I wish I had when I was their age. So I'm actually very excited that after all these years of building up my network, I could actually now go out there and talk to everybody about trying to really build up the next generation, especially of female business women. I guess something that people don't know about me, I guess, or if they know me, they know me. As I said, I have a daughter, 17, and I have a son that's 19. My son is 6'2", going on 6'3", and my daughter is 5'10". So people never understand how somebody barely over 5 feet tall could have given birth to two very tall, wonderful, beautiful, healthy children. But thank you.
Okay, so the theme of this panel is leveraging and collaboration, and we're going to just dive right into that. Sometimes collaborating and just approaching people to collaborate can be intimidating, yeah? Okay. So what I'd like to ask the panel is tell us about a time that you were, forced or maybe, encouraged to collaborate with either a group or a person that was unfamiliar to you. And how did you make that work?
Well, it really is how I started my career. Because of Geraldo Rivera, I saw the power of the press. And I put in the back of my head this idea of being in the news business. My master's degree was in teaching. And this, by the way, where I am today is my 7th career. That's the average. Right. And I met this, I wanted to be in the news business. And I met this man who was a political editor of the Daily News. And I went to him and I said, in my neighborhood, everything went co-op in 1985. Do you think we could start a newspaper together? And I had no news experience except being on TV and being interviewed. That was my extent. But being a teacher, how many of you are teachers in this room? Well, every hand should go up. Because you know what? Every mother is a teacher. And so the collaboration with John Toscano, who was an old newspaper man, took a buyout. I started working for him for $100 a week as a reporter, as a photographer, helped him find routes. And then he said, Vicki, can you help me sell some ads? And that's how I started in the news business, by collaborating with John. Then I bought him out.
I can venture back to 1997 when I had this vision to produce television shows and to be the executive producer of programs and to be someone that would be producing events, if you will. And so I set out on this vision, but first, only after I prayed. Let me tell you, prayer works. Truly. And I sat at my kitchen table, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to fast forward it because I know for the sake of time, I sat at my kitchen table living in the projects. And I cried, and I said, oh God, what do you want me to do? I know I want to do programming, I want to produce shows, but I don't even know where to begin. So my first collaborative effort was with God sending me to the Christian Times newspaper. And in that paper, I was led, boom, call town hall and ask them if you could interview Helen Baylor, Alvin Slaughter, J.C. Velasquez, and Alvin and Valerie Boyd. And I was like, just like that, in my mind, prayer, relationship. I called, and sure enough, I get the woman. And the woman is Christine Bender. Her father's a big bishop in the Bronx. I didn't know that. She was the person that Town Hall was in touch with through BBC, British Broadcasting Company, and she in turn told me that she was just the one that was coordinating for Roy Francis. Roy Francis Production is a big conglomerate now after leaving BBC. And so she said, listen, I'll get in touch with him and let's see what he says. Because I made that call. I would like to do some interviews, backstage, whatever. And sure enough, I got the call. Fast forward, he said yes. Now I have no cameras. I have nothing except the vision. But I had prayer again. And I called a woman by the name of Apostle Lydia Soley. And I'm just sharing right now. And when I called her, I didn't know her, but she's on Brick. You know Brick? You have a show there. Beautiful. Community media is important. Voice. And Dr. Neva does too. Anyway, I call her. She says, don't worry about it. God will provide. Call this number. See if they... And sure enough, the gentleman came. We made we got to Town Hall. We did a makeshift in the back of the theater, waited for everyone to come. And I interviewed Helen Baylor. I interviewed Alvin Slaughter. I interviewed J.C. Velasquez and Valerie Boyd. I mean, it was just amazing. So what happened after that? The collaboration with Roy Francis, right, who later left BBC and started his own Roy Francis production. So I became the United States, or if you want to call, the States tour agent for his company to bring artists over to Europe. Need I say more?
It's kind of hard to trump that. I guess I'm going to go back to when I first started my career. I'm going to age myself a little bit. So I started as an intern with Long Island Lighting Company. And while I was there, after my second year, there was an opening for an account executive position. And at first I wasn't really sure of myself and if I could do it, but then I was like, you know what? I could do it. And there were two groups of customers that I could have been an account executive for. One were the school districts, and the other one were the water companies that were here on Long Island. And lo and behold, I was lucky enough to end up with the water companies. Now, if you can imagine working for a utility and looking like I do, now all of a sudden I have to go in and represent the utility to all the water companies on Long Island. Very male-dominated. So now this little tiny blonde girl comes into the first water conference and basically tells them, I'm going to be the one that's going to talk to you about your motors and variable speed drives and so forth. They all looked around to see if there was a camera, to see if maybe they were being punked. But after about the first month or so, being able to build up my credibility and doing what we as women do, really being interested in people, and I got to know these men on a personal one-to-one basis. I found out what their birthdays were, you know, how many grandchildren they had, who was adopting a baby. I went on for over 8 years being the account executive for all the water companies on Long Island after I was terrified to actually think that I would be able to do it.
Opportunity to share with you my thoughts on not only what it means to be a woman, but what it means to be an empowered woman.
The difference between a businessman and a businesswoman. This is what you hear. He's aggressive, she's pushy. He's good on details, she's picky. He loses his temper because she's bitching. He follows through. She doesn't know when to stop. He's confident. She's conceited. He has judgment. She has prejudices. Is that what we hear sometimes about women? It's level. What does that have to do with my speech? Nothing and maybe everything.
I'm really excited about this panel. We had an opportunity to get together on a conference call on Monday night and work up the questions. So we had some time to sort of noodle on the answers.
Support your small business owners and your women entrepreneurs, and say say it and be proud of the advances and that you've made in your industries. Groundbreakers like my STEM women. I loved hearing that, you go into rooms and you're the only woman. Not only are you the only woman, you're the only woman of color, you're the only older woman, younger woman, whatever it might be. Find strength in that individuality, because it then makes you stand out from the rest.
Now, here's the problem with immigration. Everybody knows something about immigration, and no one seems to want to consider the entire pie. Okay? Immigration, I've been to dinner parties where people are arguing about immigration. I just keep quiet because everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Everybody's right because they're talking about how it impacts them and their life. Everybody's wrong because they're not thinking about how it impacts other aspects of our society.
I would like to introduce Assemblywoman Mikael C. Solange.
Okay, I really need a louder applause, I'm sorry. I know the bio is long, but yeah, we had to read it. We had to make a statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's just a pleasure to be with you here today, celebrating International Women's Day and Women's History Month. Can I get an applause for that? These are amazing, right? Fantastic.